So pretend for a moment that you're a plant, say maybe a grapevine, and you want to do what every other plant needs to do, and that is to procreate the species. And you generally do that by spreading seeds far and wide. And you're generally assisted in spreading those seeds by plants and animals, which we all know eat the berries and then, let's just say, deposit them elsewhere. But you don't want those berries to be eaten too soon because the seeds won't be ripe yet and they won't be viable. So how do you control that timing? How do you get it so that the birds and the animals don't eat the berries too soon before the seeds are ripe? Well, if you're a grapevine, the way that you do it is by controlling the acid level. Early in the season, if you take a sample of a grape in, say, July or even early August, you'll find that that grape will be very, very sour because it's just loaded with acidity, and you'll probably spit it right out. Whereas later in the summer, or maybe in the early fall, whenever they're ripe, most of those acids will have been converted to sugar. In the winery, then, that sugar gets converted to alcohol by yeast, and that's a very broad overview of how the ripening process works. So I'm standing here amongst the rows here at Wachusett Vineyards, and you can see we're looking at some beautiful clusters. Speaking of ripening, this is Petite Pearl, and you can see they look ripe. I mean, look at that color. Look at those clusters, they're just beautiful. But the numbers suggest that they're not quite ripe yet. We monitor every day the sugar levels and the acidity levels as it gets close to harvest time, and we know exactly when to pick. We've already harvested a few grapes up here. The Aramella was ready a week or so ago, so we harvested that. And about 3 weeks ago already, we harvested our first batch of Itasca, which is new for us. We just planted those vines 3 years ago. So Itasca is a very early ripening grape, as opposed to some of these like Petite Pearl, which are much later ripening. So the harvest, generally speaking, this year is coming along great. This has been almost a Goldilocks growing season for us. The heat and the drought that a lot of people complained about really didn't bother the grapes up here at all, because we're very fortunate that these grapes are planted in predominantly clay soils. And sometimes that can make the soil a little bit mucky to work around in the early spring. But when you get a really dry, hot summer like this one, we're very fortunate, and we're very blessed that we have these kind of soils up here, because these grapevines really did not exhibit any stress this year at all. So it's almost kind of a Goldilocks year for us. The berry size has been very small, and that's actually a good thing, because smaller berries means more surface area, which means proportionally more skin for the amount of juice. And keep in mind that skin usually is where all of the flavor and aroma comes from in grapes. So very small berry size, and then just in the past couple of weeks we've gotten a bit of rain to just plump those berries up just enough to actually to just improve the quantity of juice that we're going to be hauling in here pretty soon. So we think that this is going to be a very, very good vintage, and we're really looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.